my name's Ariel, and I'm a fifth-year marine biology student studying at the University of Auckland. And I have just applied for the PhD studying seabird sensory ecology and conservation, so hoping that goes well. I'm just going to talk about a little bit of how the Lord has been my strength and my comfort and peace for me during times of some dark trials during my childhood. And I just want to start with a psalm, Psalm 32, 7-8, where it says, "Lord, you are my hiding place. You will protect me from trouble, and you will surround me with songs of deliverance." And I feel like the Lord has really been this for me during some of the trials I've had, because he was always there to support me and build me up. So I am originally from New Zealand, but I was born and raised in a small little country in Southeast Asia called Brunei. It's a really lovely and delightful little place. I was born into a Christian household, and both my parents are Christian. They taught me the word and about Jesus and the Lord. So since I can remember, I've always known that there is a God present and that Jesus loves me. And as I matured and grew up over the years, I started to grow more in faith towards the Lord. My family didn't actually go to church, so I didn't grow up in a church, because in Brunei at the time, the churches there which we went to, were quite hypocritical. They tried to change the word rather than let the word change you. So we decided to have Bible studies at home. So I grew up studying the Bible at home. I was baptized in the South China Sea by my dad when I was about 7 or 8 years old. And I remember my dad telling me beforehand that once you're baptized, you'll see things in a whole new light. So I was super excited, like I couldn't wait to see what would happen. So once my dad took me underwater and then baptized me out of the water, suddenly the trees on the beach were blurry, and they were in like a kaleidoscope of different colors of pink and purple and orange. And I was just so excited for this. But then I washed the waters out of my eyes, and I realized that, that wasn't going to be what the vision was. But my dad then explained to me that it would be a new spiritual understanding which I would gain. And since then, the seed of faith has definitely grown more, and I've definitely grown more understanding and to get to know the Lord more since then. And it has also helped me get through, because there have been some of the dark times in my childhood was actually not the fact that I grew up in a Muslim country. In fact, I actually felt more accepted as a Christian there than I have done here. But actually, no, one tribulation and ongoing tribulation for me is my mom, because my biological mother isn't exactly the nicest woman in the world. And my parents went through a very messy divorce when I was about 12 years old, and it wasn't very good. I just remember endless nights of just screaming and yelling, and even from the beginning days. And when I was a kid, about 5 years old, I remember times when I was just scared and terrified, and I'd just like go up to my mom's room, and I would be just scared out of my tree, and my mom would just send me away crying, and she'd be even more angry at me. And the scars still linger on to this day. But what I didn't realize at the time was that the Lord was always there, and I really appreciate that now, because I don't know what I would have done without him. I could always turn to him. I could always inwardly pray and for the Lord for help. I could always look to the Bible and read a Bible verse, and that would always give me peace and comfort, knowing that he was always there. and it would just strengthen me and build me up during that time. So when it finally all finished and it was finally all over, I was no longer a scared little girl, but I had matured a lot. And so I don't really tell the story to people, but when some people ask me, I remember a coworker asked me, because I was talking about my dad but rarely mentioned my mom, and I explained what happened, and she asked me, how did you turn out so well? Most kids would be psychologically damaged. And I said, yeah, well, the memories linger, but there's no doubt that the Lord, through his grace and mercies, have really helped me through this time, because there is no other way. Like, I don't even want to know how I would have turned out like without the Lord being there. And I just wish to say another psalm, which is Psalm 46, 1-3. It says, God is my refuge and strength, an ever-present help in my trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth will change, and though the mountains fall into the sea, and though the waters of the sea will roar and foam, and the mountains quake at its swelling. The Lord has definitely been my refuge. Like, regardless of the tempest of those terrible and horrible times, the sun was always there to give me warmth and strength. And once the tempest just left, like, the sun was really beautiful. And I just want to end with Nehemiah 8:10, which says, like, do not be grieved, for the joy of the Lord of Jehovah is your strength. And he certainly has been mine. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So for those who don't know me, my name is Caleb, and I'm currently in my third year of university studying civil engineering. So a bit about me and my testimony. So I was born into just a normal Christian family who simply loved the Lord. And I grew up in South Auckland for the first part of my life. But in the end of primary school, my primary school years, we decided to move to North Shore. But soon after we moved to North Shore, my mum was diagnosed with cancer. And, as a 9-year-old, I found it quite hard and quite heavy to go through such a situation. And actually at this time, the Lord was not just my parents' God, but he was now becoming my God and the one whom I could approach. So I just turned to him and prayed that the Lord would be with my mum and would be over the situation, and he would be the one looking over us. And actually, I didn't know this at the time, but in Philippians 4:19 it says, and my God will supply your every need according to his riches in glory in Christ Jesus. It says God will supply your every need according to his riches. His riches actually supply exceedingly above our need. And this is what I really experienced during this time. When I came to the Lord, he gave me peace within, that no matter what was going to happen, that everything was going to be all right. And that all I had to do was to simply trust in what he was doing. So my mum, she had her surgery to remove the cancer, and the first lot of chemo. But a couple months later, she had another test. I can't exactly remember how long after, but it started to come back, and it came back in a much more severe case. And it was difficult growing up, seeing your mum in so much pain. And your points where she couldn't feel normal and without pain unless she took so many painkillers. But I remember at night time I used to spend time with her, and she just used to just sing to the Lord and just pray to the Lord. And actually in these times the Lord really supplied her and met her need. And there was just a moment where she would just be released, and she'd find comfort in a time of discomfort, because the Lord was supplying her, and she was just simply enjoying the peace that He gave her and the comfort that He gave her in this time. Also in this time, the Lord really revealed something to her that I couldn't see at the time, but now I could see it. But this was that the Lord can see what we cannot see, and that we must just trust Him in every situation, because all He is doing is with the view that we might seek Him, that we might find Him, and that we might know Him. She was living almost outside of her situation, because she was living by the life of the Lord. The Lord was supplying her in this time. She even was able to pick her own lot where she was going to be buried, meet with the funeral director that was going to direct her funeral, even pick some of the songs at the funeral. But yeah, eventually my mum did pass away, and I do miss her every day. But sorry, I lost what I was going to say. But I always question the Lord after, why did this have to happen to me and have to happen to my family? You're always saying, oh, it's going to happen to someone else. It's never really going to happen to you. But actually, a couple months after my mum passed away, I think it was a couple months, my dad gave me a letter that my mum had written to me. And I just want to read a couple of things just to kind of get you to see what my mum could see. It says, I love you so much, and I wish I could have many more days with you on the earth. But this is the Lord's plan, and this is His way. And at the end it says, one day we will know Caleb. Sorry. The Lord will tell us, I know it is to gain Him, to gain precious materials for His building, because in the end, this is all that counts, which is His eternal kingdom. So, my mum at this time, she did not have, much time left, but all she could see was that, we had to gain Him even in this time. And that in this verse, I think it's Acts 17:26. Yeah, there it is. And it says, and He made from every nation of men to dwell on all the face of the earth, determining beforehand the appointed seasons and the boundaries of the dwelling. And it says in the next verse that they might seek God. We are put through such situations in order that we may, know how wonderful the Lord is, and we may see that He is just wanting to dispense Himself to us, that we may receive Him and actually know in a real way how wonderful the Lord can be in our situations, and that He can meet our every need. And I hope that each and every one of you in your situations, you may face some, harder situations than I've ever faced, but just know that the Lord is there, and He's just wanting you to turn to Him, and He's gone through such a process. He's become a man. He's lived a normal human life and faced all such temptations and such situations that He knows what you're feeling, and He's become such a one you can turn to and who you can receive in such a time and in such a situation. So I just encourage you all, just to open to Him and just to, see what He does and what He speaks to you and how He touches you. So sorry for my emotional speaking, but yeah, I think the next person who's got to speak is Anna.
Hi, everyone. That was something that I've really experienced is that everything occurs under God's sovereignty. Oh, sorry, I didn't introduce myself. Hi, I'm Anna, and I'm a first year at Auckland University of Technology, and I'm studying communication design. So without further ado, I'm just going to share my testimony. So a lot of the times we as humans ask, why did this happen? Why, this pandemic, why is this happening? why? And the most simple and true answer to that, whether you're a believer or not, is God's sovereignty, because God is on the throne and everything will be worked out in time, not only in your life, but with this whole world situation. God created the universe, both time and space. Therefore, God's will be done in time. His will not only in us, but in the world. You know, a lot of the time we only come to God in a time of need, which isn't a bad thing. He's there to satisfy that need and to help you through. And in a time like now, you think, what is our need? Through this pandemic, through this world situation, some may need peace because maybe they're anxious, and some may need a friend, someone they can talk to, and some may need light in a dark time and even life. And God can give us all that and so much more. God became a man so that he knows what we human beings have to go through. I want to share some of my experiences with God being there for me in times of need. Through my times of need, I've really seen that he is on the throne and he knows what he's doing. Everything happens for a reason, and he just wants us to talk to him, open ourselves and our situation to him so that he can unveil what he wants to do in us. Matthew 11:28-30 says, "Come to me, all who toil and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." So one of the experiences I've had is why I'm here, an American in New Zealand. For the longest time, I knew I was going to move to New Zealand and to study at university, but with this aspiration came the uncertainty and anxiety of moving across the world. I only wanted to move if it was for God and if it was what he wanted me to do. But I was so uncertain if this feeling was from God or myself. The uncertainty of getting into university was huge as well, and just the overall uncertainty of my future, let alone the rest of my life. I hated not knowing. It was like a long waiting game if I would get into university, if New Zealand was the place for me, if I was going to move across the world. This went on all throughout my high school, but especially the last year when I was working on my portfolio to get into university. You know, it was a really big decision, and the only thing I could do was wait. But waiting didn't make me feel any better. I was constantly thinking about my future. I was worrying, asking questions. Why? So I started to turn these thoughts, questions, into prayers to the Lord. I opened completely to him. I submitted and I gave my life and my future to him because I know I couldn't do it on my own. And I asked for his will to be done in my life. And only in him was I able to find peace and rest with my decision, because it ended up being his decision for me. I once felt so burdened with what was going on with my life, and I came to him. I found rest within him, and through realizing that he was on the throne working out the best for me, I was able to understand. Someone once told me, if it's from the Lord, it'll be easy. I mean, moving across the world and starting university, it isn't easy. And of course, I was still anxious, but in a way, with the Lord, it was. John 16:33 says, that these things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you have affliction, but take courage. I have overcome the world. The Lord has overcome the world and all its uncertainties, anxieties, and darkness. So why don't we come to the one who has overcome, so that he can overcome in us? It doesn't mean that we will stop being anxious or stop being uncertain. We're still human. But it means that there is someone who intercedes for us, who knows every one of our needs, someone who is arranging each circumstance, someone who can sustain you and carry you through. And that someone is the Lord Jesus. And he is just waiting for you to open your heart and turn to him. Thank you.
What does God mean to you? In your lives, whether if you are, a new believer, you don't know much about God. What do you think God is to you? And what do you think God means to you? And same goes with